Welcome to the Riverwood Conservancy's webinar series, DIY Holiday Upcycled Gift Demo with Isabel Savransky. My name is Stephanie. I'm the Community Program Coordinator at the Riverwood Conservancy. I want to apologize so much for the delay today. Hopefully it wasn't too much of an inconvenience to anyone, but thank you so much for still joining. We're really excited about this. Before we get started, I just want to mention that we have a few more virtual programs left in November, as seen on your screen now. And all of our December events are live on our website now, so please check them out at the riverwoodconservancy.org/events to register for any in-person and virtual programs. And if you have the capacity to support our programs and protect Riverwood's wildlife, please consider donating. Right now, thanks to the generosity of Scots Canada, all donations to our holiday campaign made before December 31st, 2021 will be matched dollar for dollar up to $15,000. So that means your gift will be double the impact. You can find out more at the riverwoodconservancy.org/double. And before we get to Isabel today, the Riverwood Conservancy would like to acknowledge that the land on which we operate is the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional homeland of the Anishinaabe, Wendat, and Haudenosaunee nations. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this place is still home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people, and we are very grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land. And today we have Isabel back with us again, whose passion for sustainability began in 2018 when Izzy and her friends started a zero waste club at the University of Guelph. In her free time, Izzy likes to go biking, cook plant-based meals, and hang out with her hedgehog, Hoggy. She just recently graduated from the University of Guelph in animal biology. She's currently working as you got a new job, Isabel?
Yeah, I'm currently working as a waste reduction educator at EcoSource.
Wow, that's awesome. And so relevant too. That's great. Awesome. If you have any questions during the demonstration, please type them in the comment section and I will bring them to Isabel during her presentation. And I will put instructions in the chat bar as well. So I will hand it over to you. Thanks so much for joining. I'm really excited about this one.
Thank you. So I'm just going to go over really quickly the materials you need, like there are things that you can replace, but so what kind of is important, we need some sort of waxy thing. So in here I have beeswax pellets. So they are, what's convenient about this is they're already in small pieces. I have made this from like a brick of beeswax before, and if that is what you're going to be doing and if that's all you have, you're going to need to pretty much sacrifice a grater, because to clean the beeswax off of a grater is very challenging, but it can be done. So I do recommend the small little pellets, but if you only have like a big brick of that, that's okay as well. As well, if you don't consume honey or if you prefer something else, you can also look for soy pellets. I know that's a big thing right now. And also just letting you know, everything I purchased, I tried to do as low waste as possible. So I actually purchased the beeswax, the shea butter, and my essential oil all from Bear Market, which is a zero waste store in downtown Toronto. You can bring your own containers. I did not have an essential oil container, so I basically put a deposit on this one, and then if I ever want to return it, I can get the deposit back, or if I need to refill it, I can just keep using it. I chose bergamot as my essential oil, but you can pretty much use whichever one. I have done this with peppermint before. It works really great, but I just wanted to try something new. In this little jar, I have shea butter. Feel free to use either shea butter or cocoa butter. They work really similarly. It's all about like what's accessible to you and what your preference is. I also have coconut oil, a big tub of it. This is a neutral flavor, but just beware that if you use like just regular coconut oil, it will kind of give your lip balm a coconutty flavor. Alternatively, some other oils you can use are almond oil, avocado oil, olive oil, that sort of thing. Those will not need to be melted, but the coconut oil will need to be melted because it's solid at room temperature. Something else I did to keep this zero waste and low waste is I actually reached out to a group that I'm in. It's called Zero Waste Toronto, and I asked specifically for these because they work so well. These are from David's Tea Advent calendars. So if you don't know what that is, it's like they give you like 12 different teas in little portions like this. And these just, I think, work so perfectly. Like they have that clear lid, and there it says like the flavor it was. And the nice thing about it is they already have a really nice scent. Like this one is Santa's Secret. Not sure what that scent is, but it adds to your lip balm. You could obviously wash them out if that's not your thing. Alternatively, you could really use maybe an old lip balm container. I've used like the little Bliss Tex ones before. Or you can buy some like paper tubes if you're trying to make like the twisty lip balms, all based on your preference. Something else I'm using, this is a compostable bowl. If you just have a paper or styrofoam bowl, I recommend using that instead of like a glass bowl or like your just dinnerware. Just like the grater, it will be very hard to clean off, and it could clog your sink if, you know, a bunch of beeswax is going down on it. So this you can just compost because it'll just have the beeswax on it. The reason I'm using a bowl is because I don't have a double boiler, which you can use in this recipe. But if you do, you can just use that. I'm just going to be using the microwave to melt all my ingredients. That's just what works for me. And I'm a big fan of using what you have instead of going out and buying things. But if you have a double boiler, feel free to use it in this recipe. And I'm going to risk it. I'm using a regular spoon. I think it'll be like not too much beeswax on it that I will be able to wash it off. But if you're nervous about using spoons, you could probably use like a wooden spoon that you could compost. Or if you already have a plastic spoon, you got takeout and they gave you a plastic spoon and you didn't want it and you didn't use it, just use that because it's already in your house and it's laying there. Okay, so if you have any questions about what I just said, feel free to write them in the chat if you need clarification, and then Stephanie will ask me directly. So, all right, first thing we're gonna do, you need 2 times the amount of oil as you need the butter and the beeswax. So you could be really precise. You could use, you know, measuring cups, but like I said, I don't want to get a lot of things dirty. I'm kind of like just a guesstimate and visualize. But if you want to be more technical, feel free to use like a cup or like accurate measurements. But I think it works out just fine if you're approximating your amounts. So we're gonna do, I think I'm gonna do 2 of like oversized spoons of the oil. And yeah, like I said earlier, you can use almond oil. That'll be a little bit pricier because almond oil is pricey. Just make sure you're not using like baking almond oil. You're using, or actually, no, I think I'm incorrect. Use the baking one because it's going like near your mouth. And if you consume it, and like it'll be okay if it's the baking one instead of the cosmetic one, which you put on your face. Then we're gonna just do a little spoonful of the beeswax. It's okay if some spills in. All right, I'm just gonna use my finger to scrape the rest in. And what's important is that we add the essential oil after it has all melted. We don't wanna add it before because I think it takes away from the properties of the oils and you just won't, it might even burn a little bit. Then we're gonna do 1 spoonful of cocoa. Sorry, this is shea butter I'm using, but if you have cocoa butter, that works. Okay, and then I'm just gonna turn my camera, and if you're using a microwave like I am, I would just do small increments. You don't wanna burn it. So I think we're gonna start for 20 seconds. Obviously, this also varies with the strength of your microwave. So you know your microwave better than I do. So just do small increments. Let's start with 20 seconds. I also forgot to mention, if you think like it'll get messy, you can always put down like an old t-shirt on your countertop or wherever it is you're working on this, just to prevent making a big mess. So So what we're gonna do each time, mine actually melted a little bit, so I think we're almost there. My consistency is kind of like soupy already. And I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix it up a bit more so that, because my shea butter didn't really melt at all, but my coconut oil did.
And Izzy, just to confirm, it's 2 scoops of coconut oil, 1 scoop of beeswax, and 1 scoop of shea butter that you just did?
Yeah, you can say like, it doesn't have to be scoops, it can just be parts or whatever.
Right.
So 2 oil, 1 wax pellets or whatever, and 1 butter.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Just gonna keep mixing a little bit more. If you have a whisk, it might be easier to whisk it in. So I don't think I'm gonna do it for 20 seconds this time because that will melt it too far and I don't wanna burn it. So I'll probably do maybe 10 and see what happens. And I'm just using like an old piece of paper towel and putting my spoon on that, or you can use the old t-shirt. I'm actually nervous about 10. I think what we'll do is we'll do 7. All right, it's even more liquidy. There are still some beeswax pellet chunks. I'll try and show everybody. We do want it to be kind of more smooth and more of a, I'm forgetting the word, but like one substance, one liquid. You don't want chunks in it. I'm just gonna mix a bit more. And the ones I'm actually making today are going to be presents for people. And just like talking about low waste gifts for the holidays, because that's coming up and that's always a big kind of task is finding people gifts. Something I'm doing to try to be more sustainable this year is to try and give people experiences instead of things, because you know sometimes you buy people things and they don't use them, even if it's like a zero waste item, like a reusable, I don't know, silicone bag or something, and they never use it, it's not zero waste anymore because it's just laying there and not being used. So this year I'm trying out more experiences because then we can do things and make memories. And including these, I'm also giving these out to friends because everyone uses lip balm. All of my friends do, but if you know someone that doesn't, maybe don't give them this as a gift. So we're almost there. I still see some pellets. I think I'm gonna go a little bit higher this time. It's more smooth, but it's not quite there yet. I think we'll do 12 seconds. And I'll just watch it closely. If you're using a double boiler, just make sure you're continuously stirring so it doesn't burn. Ooh. And there we go. What you'll see is it's very clear now. It's almost like a liquid. And so what we'll do, it'll harden as it dries. And so what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna give it a final mix. I have a little bit of pellets still in there, but I think that'll be okay. So what we're gonna do is on your t-shirt, or I'm using like a little old paper towel. So just in case you spill any, I would probably put it on top of that. And I have made, these are the larger ones. I've also seen like the smaller ones and they're like such a cute portable size, but these will definitely last you longer. So at this time, actually, I'm just stirring it. You know what, I'm gonna give mine like maybe 10 more seconds. I want it a little bit smoother. But at this stage, we can add our essential oils once it's cooled down, maybe a touch. Feel free, like I said, use whichever essential oils you like. But I just really recommend zero waste stores like Bear Market because it's such a great way to use like zero waste packaging.
You can bring in your old essential oil jars.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And even this one, I think like the top here just pops off and then they can fill it for you and you no longer pay for the jar once you purchase one. And if anyone's interested, maybe, I don't know, Stephanie wrote in the chat, it's just called Bear Market, like B-A-R-E Market.
I will do that now. Very cool.
Okay, just gonna pour the pan down. I'm gonna pour a little bit in each one.
And I'm thinking this would be a great gift for like colleagues, or if your kids want to give gifts to everyone in their classes.
Yeah.
They're small and it's fun to make.
Absolutely. So I think I'm filling these up pretty high. I think I'm gonna make maybe another round of them just in case anyone popped on just now. And I think I'm gonna try actually, because my pellets did not melt amazingly. I think I'm gonna try and putting my pellets first and see if that makes a little bit of a difference. I thought my pellets would melt a little bit better. So let's see. I think I'm just gonna do, oops, that's a lot of pellets, but that's okay. We're gonna put this in, I think, for like maybe 30 seconds and see if we can add the rest of the stuff after.
Yeah, and that's great too. We have a couple people that have joined us now on Facebook. So for those of you that are just joining now, Isabel's going to start over the process of making the lip balm so you can follow along if you have the ingredients.
So currently what we're doing is we're melting the beeswax pellets. I just found they didn't melt as well as I thought, so we're going to start with melting them. As I said earlier, you can use a double boiler if you have one. If you don't, just use a microwave and just do it in small increments and stir every so often so you don't burn anything. I just realized I totally forgot to add essential oil to my last batch. Once we've poured it in here, this is the batch I just made, but everyone that's joined on now, we're going to make another one. You can add as many drops as you like, make it as flavorful as you want. I'm probably going to do maybe 10 to 15 per each one. And let's check in on my pellets and see whether they've melted. They've definitely started becoming sticky. So we're on the right track. And I was saying earlier that I recommend using like a bowl that's maybe paper or compostable or styrofoam, whatever you have at home, because it will be quite challenging to clean the beeswax off of it because it sticks so much. So just use one that you don't plan on like using for soup later on.
Unless people like beeswax soup.
Exactly.
Which there might be someone out there.
And if you don't live near Bear Market and you're not sure, oh, you know what? This is working out nicer. It's melting, but it's going to take a little bit longer. I think I'm going to do it for 40 minutes. If you don't live near Bear Market and you're wondering where to get wax, I've seen lots of like local shops have them. I'm just reading oh, styrofoam. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not styrofoam. Paper is probably better. You're right. And you can always look up like local beekeepers. Like, some people just have bees in their backyard. I know there's a couple around my neighborhood, so you could connect with them and see if they make their own beeswax. So yeah, I think I would melt the wax first and then add the coconut oil and butter because they just melt a lot faster. And just make sure you're continuously stirring it. We're right, my beeswax is looking melty. I think I'm gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So as we were saying earlier, it's 2 to 1 to 1 of oil, coconut, or no, cocoa butter or shea butter to beeswax. And you can use like however much you're making. You can use tablespoons, you can use cups, it doesn't matter. Just mixing my beeswax a bit more. And as I was also saying earlier, feel free to use whatever oil is more accessible to you and whatever you prefer. I'm using coconut oil, but you can use almond oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Consumable oils are totally fine because this is going close to your mouth, so you obviously want it to be something that if you consume a little bit, you're going to be okay. So it's actually better than cosmetic oils. Okay, my beeswax is like a nice paste. I'm going to do I'm doing shea butter, also purchased from Bear Market. And then I'm probably going to grab a clean spoon for my coconut oil because we eat this oil and I don't really want beeswax in it. Do this much, maybe a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm just going to throw this in for maybe 25 seconds. And we're just going to see what it turns out like. Melting quite nicely. I'm just giving it a stir. Yeah, so my beeswax on the sides has already kind of hardened, so you need to work kind of quickly with it because it just stiffens up really quick. And you want it like a nice smooth consistency, so just make sure that you're mixing it well. Are there any other questions in the chat that I may have missed, Stephanie?
Not right now, not at the time. It seems like you're describing it well because we have no questions coming in yet.
Okay, perfect. We'll do another 26 seconds. And I actually made one of these like 2 years ago and I'm just finishing it up. So it lasts you a really long time, surprisingly. And mine was actually like half the size of this one. So if I make myself one right now, I think it'll last me a really long time, which I'm pretty excited for because honestly, losing lip balm is the worst. But with these, I find like they're more special to me because I made them and I put the effort into making them, that I'm kind of more protective and try not to lose them as much. And it's like almost there. I'll show you where I'm at. I have some chunks of shea butter. The coconut oil melts like super fast, but I want everything to melt, so we're gonna do a little bit longer. I'm gonna do 35. And if any of you make this, I'd love to see pictures. I guess I'm on Instagram like with my small business, so you could tag like, it's called Izzy's Imperfect Items, and if you put them on your story, I can repost them, and I'd love to see if any of you are following this recipe and gonna use it for the holidays.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I posted in the chat bar here for you, Izzy, but it is your own business, Izzy's Imperfect Items, which has some really cool stuff. Do you want to talk about maybe some of the items that you're selling?
Yeah, for sure. So we make items entirely out of like secondhand materials, which includes like fabric scraps, like just repurposed textiles that we entirely thrift or we get donated to us. So we make all kinds of things like for the holidays, we're making stockings, bowl cozies, bottle bags, aprons. We have a lot of different stuff. And it's just kind of my side hobby that I enjoy, just making items out of like secondhand materials. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to check it out.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I have gotten the perfect consistency. It's essentially a liquid, which is what we want. You know, no chunks, nothing floating. So I'm gonna put my old guys aside, my new ones here. So I'll just pour it out here. And then we'll see if I can do 2 or 3. I'm trying to fill them up to the brim, so I might only get 2. And you'll just want to set these aside to harden. So I have a little bit extra here. Let's see how full I can fill these. Because once it hardens, it's fine. Still have a little bit of extra, so I might just pour it in my 3rd one, and then I'll probably just make a little bit more later. Because I just like to do it all in one go. I'm already, you know, using the spoons, using all my materials, so might as well just keep going with it. So I'm pretty much done. That is how you make your own lip balm for the holidays. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and let me know. I'd love to see if any of you have followed this recipe. I'd love to see what you make.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Isabel. That's such a quick and easy gift to make. And you can make so many of them too, right? So you can, like I said earlier, coworkers, if your kids have a huge class, you can make one for all the kids in the class. It's just an awesome gift during the holidays. And I just wanted to plug also, you did a webinar on November 2nd with us as well, an upcycling webinar on holiday gift ideas and low waste or no waste kind of gift ideas for the holidays too. So check that out on our website too if you want to see more from Isabel. That was a really, really great program too, to kind of give you some ideas.
Yeah, thank you so much for.
Yeah, thank you. And then lastly, if you do make this at home today, please tag us. We are at Your Riverwood on all social medias, and also tag Isabel and her business too. We'd both love to see what you have created. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out and email us. But I think that is all for now. I think you explained it perfectly, and it's pretty straightforward, which is awesome. So I know I will be making some for my friends too. So thank you so much, Isabel.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. If you have any questions, email Stephanie and she'll direct them to me as well if anything comes up.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day and happy holidays, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.